Am I the only one that feels like the month is going by really, really fast? Because it's definitely going by fast. You guys, hello, my name is Shaneria. Today we have another reaction video. If you are returning, you already know. If you are new here, don't forget to join the family and subscribe to my channel. Today we have another reaction video, so let's get started.
Alright, y'all, story time part 1 on how I found out that my cousin is really my mother. So everybody got an auntie, an uncle, somebody in their family who's always lit at the functions, like always the littest. Like out of everybody at the function, they is gonna be turned up regardless. Don't give a fuck what nobody gotta say, nothing. Like, yeah, they be lit. So we having a cookout at my house, family normal cookout gathering, whatever, real lit, you know. And my auntie come over to me like, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she told me to go tell my cousin something. But in the midst of her telling me that, she's like, go over there and tell your mother, we just gonna call her Daisy. She like, go over there and tell Daisy, go tell your mother Daisy that I said blah, 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 blah. So I'm looking at her like, what? So she like, yes, that's your mother. Like, your sister is blah, blah, and your brothers. Like, yeah, that's your mother. Go tell your mother. And I'm sitting there puzzled, like, that's not my mother. That's my cousin. She like, girl, if you don't go over there and tell your mother what I said. And I'm just like, okay. Keep in mind, I'm only like 10 years old. So I'm just sitting there with this dumb look on my face like, I know who the fuck my mother and my father is. What do you mean, go tell my mother that? That ain't my mother. That's my cousin. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm like, she lit at this point. So maybe it's an accident. I don't know. But that shit was on my mind the entire day, night. Years go on. I'm still thinking about it. Like,
It's always somebody that get literally tore up and talk too much. But at this point, the way she's telling it, I don't think that auntie was just talking too much. She knew exactly what she was doing, being messy
about it, like, to the point where, as though two years later, I go over one of my other auntie's house and I just straight asked her, because we just had a nice good relationship like that, and I'm like, auntie said that Daisy is my mother, is that true? And she just looked at me like,
messy.
alright, y'all, back for part 2 of finding out that my cousin is really my mother. Okay, so I had left off saying, I had asked my auntie, was it true what my other aunt had said to me, because I was, you know, just curious and it's been weighing on my mind heavy or whatever. And she's like, that's a conversation that you need to have with you and your mother. Not talking about Daisy, but my mother, the mother that I know of. So then she, you know, tried to change the subject, make jokes or whatever, like, oh, well, you know, I got your cousin from behind the dumpster at Wendy's, and then I got your other cousin, she rode off the back of a watermelon truck or whatever, you know, just joking or whatever, trying to change the subject. So, you know, we all in the house kikiing and stuff, and then, you know, it kind of went over, whatever. But then my aunt ended up calling my mom, like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, Nakara's asking questions. And I didn't tell her anything because I feel like that's a conversation you need to have with her or whatever. So then my mother was like, okay, whatever. They hung up, whatever their conversation was after that. I don't know. So she hung up. And then after that, next thing I know, my mother's at the door and she like, come on, it's time for you to come home. So I'm like, what do I need to come home for? Like, my father brought me over here. What do I need to come home for? So she ended up picking me up, taking me back home. She never said anything.
I feel like that is true. Like, please allow the people that raised her to tell her the truth. Like, it was not the first auntie's place to even say anything. That's how I know she definitely was being messy.
Taking me back home. She never said anything about the situation or nothing like that. So then I called my father like, mommy just brought me home. And he like, what do you mean? Like, you supposed to be staying with me? Like, what's going on. So then he come back, pick me up, take me back to my aunt house. So then I went back over there for the weekend. So then after that, you know, time go on, and I ain't say nothing else about it, whatever the case may be. But then, you know, like as I grew older, we was on MySpace, you know, being kids, and I kept finding out, like my mother kept finding out stuff. Mind you, my mother's older, so she wasn't a, you know, social media type of person. So I'm trying to figure out, like, how do she keep finding out what I'm putting on MySpace or what I'm putting on Facebook and stuff like that? Come to find out, Daisy was stalking my MySpace page, and she was going back telling my mother stuff, and I guess showing it to her or whatever, because I don't even think we had screenshotting back then. But she was showing my mother my MySpace and stuff. That's how my mother found out when I had got my first tattoo. I went to a tattoo party, I think 7th grade, 8th grade, something like that, and I got a little tattoo on my stomach. So one day we having a cookout, because we was the house that always had cookouts. I come to the house and my mother like, you got a tattoo? Mind you, was outside playing all day. It was so random. I just happened to come to the house. She's like, you got a tattoo? And I just looked at her like, she like, don't lie. And I'm like, yeah. So she like, let me see. Show her the tattoo. And I'm like, how did she find out that I had a tattoo? Come to find out, Daisy was telling her stuff, going back, you know, showing her everything that I was posting on MySpace, my pictures, all that stuff. So I ended up getting punished for the rest of the summer. So fast forward, she ended up, her and her family ended up having to come stay with my family. I don't know what they had going on, but they just had to come stay with us for a little while. And she just was, you know, being weird, like, you know, being antisocial, don't really want me engaging as much with the kids. If the kids was doing stuff, she, you know, didn't include me or whatever the case may be. If my mother was saying she was taking me and my cousins or whatever to Six Flags,
it seemed like that auntie was very generous, like nice. Yeah, or maybe that was her favorite niece, like, because she took her child in and then let her stay with her. Like, it might have been her favorite niece.
Something, she wouldn't let her daughter come. Like, she would always make her stay in the house and watch the two younger kids. Like, it was bad. But me not fully knowing the truth, I just thought like she just was being just like a angry bird. Like, I'm like, why she won't let you do nothing? I would go stay at my cousin's house. We would go skating on the weekends, and she would not let her do anything. Like, she literally was in the house all the time. If she wasn't at a cookout or something like that, she was in the house watching them kids. Like, we going mall, hang out. Like, she would not let her do nothing, especially when it came to me. Like, as far as us hanging together, like, we literally only hung together on certain occasions, and then like maybe once in a blue moon she would let her stay, but that's probably only if she didn't need her to babysit. So time go on, I start, you know, paying more attention and stuff like that, and stuff start, you know, connecting. Like, I'm just putting pieces together and stuff like that. So then maybe like, I think I want to say like 14, 15, something like that, I end up having a conversation with my fave auntie. If you know, you know. And, you know, I just sat there and told her, like, I'm like, I know Daisy, which is her sister. I'm like, I know Daisy, my mother. I start telling her, like, laying everything out. Like, this is how I figured everything out. Like, nothing's added up. I'm like, how did my mother have me when she got her tubes tied after she had my brother? And he's 8 years older than me. And then my sister's 10 years older than me. Something isn't adding up. So then she like, look, she like, I ain't never lied to you before. I ain't gonna stop lying to you now. And we just had a conversation, and she let me know what was what. I already knew, so it wasn't even like she came out and told me, but she just basically clarified everything for me. So then she called my other auntie, like, Nakara, asking questions, and everybody like, don't say nothing or whatever the case may be. But I already knew, so it wasn't even like she just came out and straight told me. Like, I'm not dumb. Like, I was very advanced at my age. So I was just slowly putting the pieces to the puzzle together. Like, it was not rocket science. So then it got back to my mother that I knew. So then she like, look, at this point we ready to have a sit down and we just gonna talk about everything because it's just a lot of back and forth. At this time I was living with my father and not living with her. We had stopped talking for like a year or two, and then we finally just had the conversation.
I don't get it. Why was you not talking to the person that raised you? I understand that you was wanting to get all that information or wanting to know, but what made you literally not talk to her like for a while?
All right, y'all, we back for part 3. Sorry for the wait, but yeah, let's get into it. But before we get into it, let me just let y'all know that Daisy and her little dandelions have tapped into the motherfucking chat. All right, no, but all jokes.
Come on in, because yeah, we want to know why you kept it a secret and was being distanced and gave her away. Like, what made you do it?
Aside though, like, that was really funny. But yeah, let's get into part 3. So I left off part 2. My mother said she wanted to sit down and talk to me about it because I kept asking everyone questions, and she rather it come from her than, you know, somebody else telling me their side of the story or what they think was what happened. I guess Daisy wasn't comfortable to have the conversation with me, or whatever the case may be. I don't know what her issue is. So, come to find out, I was indeed adopted. My great aunt and great uncle adopted me. Shout out to them. Honestly, I don't think that my life would have went the way it went, played out the way it played out, if it wasn't for them. I'm very appreciative of them, love them deeply. But
I like that she recognized that she still appreciate them regardless of how she feel or the things that she don't know.
To find out, when Daisy got pregnant with me, nobody knew she was pregnant at the time. She basically hid the pregnancy the whole time. So nobody even, one, knew she was pregnant, or two, knew who my biological father was, or whatever the case may be. So she had went to the hospital in labor. She called one of my other great aunts, told her that she just had a baby. Again, nobody knew she was pregnant, so it was like everyone was shocked about it or whatever. My great aunt was like, a lot of people weren't financially stable at the time to, you know, pay that money to adopt me. So my great aunt, who did end up adopting me, went to the hospital. So I was talking to Daisy about it. Told Daisy, like, okay, I'll take her, whether it's, you know, temporarily or permanently, but I'll take her. So she took me. Mind you, I was in the hospital for like a few days. I don't remember, it was like three to 5 days, no name, just in hospital chilling, just, I guess, the orphan, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So then she ended up taking me home. You know, you gotta have car seat, all that stuff. So she had to go get all that stuff because nobody was expecting a baby, you know. So she took me home, whatever the case may be. Time go on. My great aunt reached out to her, like, what are your plans? Like, so, you know, so that they could, you know, figure out what they were going to do as far as like legally adopting me or whatever the case may be. She basically told my great aunt, like, she didn't want me. Like, I'm sure, I don't know if those was her exact words, but that's basically what it was. She didn't.
It seemed like the adopted mother was already emotionally checked out from day one, like being pregnant with her.
But that's basically what it was. She didn't want me. So my great aunt, like, okay, well, if that's the case, I'm going to, you know, adopt her, like, legally. So she talked to her, made sure it was okay with her. She, you know, said it was fine, and my great aunt and great uncle end up adopting me. So So they went through the whole process, adopting me. Mind you, this whole time I didn't even have a name or anything like that. So they ended up naming me. My grandmother and my great aunt ended up giving me my middle name. My older sister ended up naming me, and then of course my great aunt and great uncle were married, so I got their last name. And then yeah, but then of course, you know, growing up, stuff like that, it was just like she was just like real weird and stuff when she was around me, you know, real standoffish, didn't really want to be around me. Like, she just like was really uncomfortable being around me. And then it was just like, if you didn't want me to be around you, or you felt as though you was going to be uncomfortable when I was in the same room as you, stuff like that, why would you allow your great aunt to adopt me? Why would you put yourself in that situation to where as though when we all in the same environment or whatever the case may be, you always distance yourself or being nonchalant or don't want to include me and stuff, knowing that I'm your child? So then, like, when my grandmother passed away, at that time, I didn't even know the whole story, but like I was getting bits and pieces at that time because I was only 10 years old, just around the same time that she had passed away. All the grandkids and stuff had took like a picture, a photo, portrait, holding her. And of course I wasn't included, which I thought was weird because at the end of the day, that's my grandmother too. But I mean, I understand the situation or whatever the case may be. So I didn't even speak anything on it, because who am I to, you know, say anything at that age? I was only 10 years old. But as I got older and, you know, start finding things out and stuff like that, apparently the person who's supposedly my father, he had passed away before I was even born. So I don't even know 100% sure if that's really my father or not. But another family member had told me, like, well, actually it was a few of my cousins, you know, they was hanging in Annapolis, stuff like that, and they told me, like, yeah, we heard such and such was possibly your father, stuff like that. So basically I'm still like researching, finding stuff out. I found out who his mother was. I talked to his brother, a couple of his best friends. So basically the next step for me to do is to take that step and go find out if, you know, go talk to his mom, stuff like that, because that might be my grandmother. And then possibly, you know, do a swab, do a DNA test to see what's what, because honestly, I've had some health issues in the past, and granted, I was adopted into the family by my great aunt, but anything can happen. I have a daughter, so like literally anything could possibly happen, and I don't know where the fuck I come from at the end of the day, besides her, which I don't even really know her father's side. I only know her mother's side. So like technically, I don't know, like, my background, my family, nothing like that, other than her side. So, yeah, so that's soon to come. And, yeah. So, yes, I was indeed adopted. My great aunt and great uncle adopted me. Very thankful of that. Honestly, my childhood probably would have been a shit wreck. Like, I would have been miserable in a house, not being able to enjoy my childhood. Probably wouldn't been able to been half the places that I went, done half the things I've done. Yes, I was being a rebellious, you know, teenager, preteen, doing stuff that kids do, get punished, all that type stuff, normal stuff that kids do. But honestly, I don't regret nothing. Like, I really appreciate them for what they did. At the end of the day, they're my parents. I would never consider Daisy a parent of mine. She just was, what am I looking for? What's the word? She just was my birth giver. And yeah, that's that. I've talked to my little brother, so now he knows. My sister, she already knew about it, and then my younger brother, I haven't talked to him like face to face or personally about it, but I think my other brother ended up telling him about it. So yeah, now everyone knows.
It seemed like lately when I've been seeing these type of stories lately, the children are very appreciative to the people that took them in, took custody of them, all that stuff. It seemed like Daisy was mentally, physically, and emotionally checked out before she even got into this world. Like, she wanted no parts, but at the same time, it could have been too late for her to have an abortion, like all of these things. And to also point out, she probably didn't know who the dad was, because it still seems like a whole roller coaster. She's being told that somebody else could be, or a deceased person could be. Like, at this point, her story is all over the place. And even though her great aunt, the one that adopted her, gave her some answers, she can't give her all the answers. And unfortunately, Daisy is giving her no answers at all. So her best bet is to do that test with the deceased man's mother and possibly get answers. I don't know. The mother could have been, sexually assaulted. I don't know why she checked out, but obviously she don't want her daughter to know. It seems like at times she also is in a state of just not wanting to be around people, or like, I don't know, like, I just can't explain it, because she's giving out mixed emotions to this child. But at the same time, like, nobody knows her story unless she tell it, and obviously she don't want to tell it. So I think that it's good that she's grateful that her great aunt took her in, and her great uncle took her in and adopted her and treated her like she was their child, because some people don't have that same opportunity, and some people are not adopted in the family at all. So drop down in the comment section what you think about this story. Do you think that she should have been adopted outside of the family, or the great aunt did the right thing? And also, if you are new here, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. And also, if you are returning, thank you guys for showing up and watching these videos. I hope you all have a blessed day. Peace.